All right, today we're going to dig into something that's fundamentally changing our digital world. This isn't some sci-fi movie plot. It's the actual blueprint for a new global surveillance architecture. And, well, it affects every single one of us.
This one sentence really gets to the core of everything we're going to talk about. The old way of thinking, a free internet over here and a censored internet over there, that line is getting blurrier by the day. And what's taking its place is something totally new, and frankly, a lot more worrying.
For a long time, when we thought about internet control, our minds jumped straight to places like China, right? The Great Firewall. But the thing is, the tools and the strategies that were once used by just a handful of countries have now gone global. This has become a much, much bigger story.
So what's this new model? It's called managed connectivity. Basically, it's this idea where the state plants itself right in the middle of all your digital communications. The goal isn't just to block a few websites anymore. No, it's about monitoring, filtering, and controlling the entire information pipeline.
And you might be asking, what's making all this possible? Well, it's a booming global market. The kind of tech that used to be custom-built by massive intelligence agencies is now a commercial product. It's now for sale to pretty much any country that can afford it.
Okay, so this control isn't just happening randomly. The source material we're looking at points to three kind of distinct blueprints that nations all over the world are using.
Let's break these three big strategies down. First, you've got the sovereign internet, where the state basically builds its own private internet. Then there's privatized enforcement, where companies are kind of forced to do the government's bidding. And finally, the metadata loophole, which is a really clever way to do mass surveillance and still technically stay within the law.
Okay, first up, we've got the most ambitious model of them all, the sovereign internet. Here, the goal is pretty simple: total control. By making all internet traffic pass through state-owned checkpoints, countries like China or Iran can inspect, log, and block whatever they want in real time. It's literally about swapping out the global internet for a state-run one.
Now, the second model is a bit more sneaky. The state essentially outsources the dirty work. It passes laws that force internet providers and tech companies to install these state-approved black boxes on their own networks. This way, the government gets to look like it's hands-off, while private companies are forced to do the actual censoring and spying for them.
And this third model? Man, it's a brilliant example of how to get around privacy laws. See, a lot of countries protect the content of your messages. So what do agencies do? They pivot. They start collecting the metadata: who you called, when you called them, for how long, and from where. This stuff can paint a complete picture of your life, and they can do it all without ever needing a traditional warrant.
So, those are the big ideas, the blueprints. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty and look at the actual tools, the hardware and the software that make all of this a reality.
This number right here, it perfectly captures the logic of modern surveillance. The thinking is, to find that one needle, a few hundred targets, they have to collect the entire haystack. And that means scooping up and analyzing metadata from millions of perfectly innocent online interactions every single day.
And with this number, you really start to see the industrial scale of this whole operation. France's national platform handled almost 3 million data requests in just 1 year. We're not talking about some detective listening in on a single phone line here. This is an automated, centralized machine built for pure efficiency and massive volume. A huge piece of technology that makes this possible is something called Deep Packet Inspection, or DPI. Think of it like being able to open a sealed letter, read it, and then seal it back up all in real time. But here's the real kicker. This tech, which used to be the exclusive domain of the NSA, is now just sold on the open market to regimes all over the world. Okay, another tactic to watch for is the Safe City project. It's sold as this harmless tool for managing city traffic or fighting crime. But what it's really doing is installing the physical backbone. We're talking thousands of cameras, facial recognition, data centers for total surveillance. And once all that hardware is in place, switching from traffic monitoring to dissident tracking, that's literally just a software update.
And this, right here, brings us to what might be the most important point of this whole explainer. The old idea that you can draw a clean line between us, the democracies, and them, the authoritarian states, is just not true anymore. The methods and even the technologies are starting to look awfully similar. Just take a look at this side by side. On the left, you have the UK, on the right, Russia. Both laws require massive data storage on their citizens. The UK wants your web history for a year, Russia wants the actual content of your messages for 6 months. So,
Yeah, the fine print is a little different, but the fundamental goal, creating a massive, searchable database of what citizens are doing online, is scarily similar.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that we've walked into a new era where the default setting for our digital lives is just being watched. Observation is the new normal.
This quote just nails the new reality, doesn't it? A government doesn't need to spend decades building its own spy agency from scratch anymore. This global market for spy tech has, in a weird way, democratized mass surveillance. The tools are right there, available off the shelf.
So, the end of a truly free internet? It isn't some problem for the future that we need to worry about. Based on everything we're saying, it's the reality we're living in right now, built on this global system of control that connects democracies and authoritarian states alike.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big question. In a world that's being designed for total observation, where every nation is building its own version of a watchtower, what does privacy even mean anymore? And maybe more importantly, is there anywhere left to go that's free from that constant gaze?